So the last thing we're going to analyze of our original box and whisker graphs is the spread. The spread looks at the difference in the variation of the typical values. So remember, typical values are the middle 50%. So when we're looking at the spread, we're looking at the physical size of the boxes. What is the range of these boxes? Now the range is called the IQR, the interquartile range, because it looks at the two quartiles, the lower quartile and the upper quartile. So what we do in the case of these quartiles is we take the lower quartile and the upper quartile. We subtract the lower quartile from the upper quartile to give an IQR, or interquartile range. So the IQR of the afternoon box and whisker graph here is 2.4 meters per second, because it is 4 minus, because here's our 4 for upper quartile, minus 1.6 for lower quartile, which gives us an IQR of 2.4 meters per second. We can then see that the IQR for the morning wind speeds goes from 3.3 in the upper quartile and subtract 1.3 in the lower quartile, giving us a spread of 2 meters per second. This gives a difference between the two box and whisker graphs, a difference of 0.4 meters per second. So what the spread actually talks about, and you'll be able to read once you have access to these slides, what this actually talks about is the variation, how much difference in our typical values, our middle 50%. So we can see that there is more variation in the afternoon wind speeds just by the size of the box. This means that we can expect more variation to happen in the afternoon than in the morning. And we could then add research to discuss why. You need to make sure that with every single one of these analysis points, you've been talking about why this is the case in real life. We talk about in our sample, but then what does this mean in real life? We have to be always coming back to our original context of why is there more wind variation in the afternoon than in the morning in northern Dunedin. If we look at the IQR of and the spread of the smart dog example, we can see that the IQR for large dogs, or the interquartile range for large dogs, goes from 22 up to 49, giving us a difference, an IQR of 27. And we can see that the IQR of small dogs for their intelligence ranking goes from 35 up to 61, giving an IQR for small dogs of 26. This is a difference of 1, which means that they are very similar in terms of their variation. The typical range is very similar, which means that we can actually expect that there is similar levels of variation in our data. And we're going to discuss why variation is so important in our next analysis and our last analysis, which is our bootstrapping. Now, bootstrapping is the key to this entire inference investigation.